Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another wonderful episode of Theater Talk. I am your host, Carlos Estrada, and with me tonight is a man who needs no introduction. He has been described as the voice of his generation and the greatest author since that one dude who wrote that one thing that was really cool and had that cool thing that happened at the end, but then it didn't really happen and it was something else. Anyway, my guest, Carlos Estrada. Oh, wow, man. What an introduction. Who said all that? Yeah, you actually said all those things. Oh, really? I said all that. What, had I been drinking? Yep. It's very likely that you were very drunk. I remember we were actually at a bar and you said all those things. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Sounds like the kind of thing I'd say. How does it feel to be a part of the Frida Kahlo Theater Festival again for the third year in a row? Well, no, really proud of the work. Really proud of what me and the team were able to do. I think it's just awesome that we were able to pull it off on such short notice. And honestly, I'm just happy to be a part of the festival. Given the circumstances, really, really great work you guys did. So the first question that I have is, what inspired you to write this piece? I was inspired to write this piece by actually a piece of spam that I received in my email one day. It was this really vague message that was just like saying like, oh yeah, we know what you've been doing. We know what you've been up to. And honestly, for like a brief second, I really thought to myself like, holy shit, wait, should I pay attention to this? Yeah, But it was such an interesting hook, this idea that, oh, well, we know what you've been up to, and if you don't fucking give us money, we're gonna tell everybody. Yeah, interesting. And from there, I just kind of remembered this short story that I read a long time ago. And since good artists borrow and great artists steal, I'm not going to tell you what it was. And so who is it primarily that you write for? Look, I worked at a startup where one of the things that they kept saying was scratch your own itch, right? And so when it comes to writing a story, what I try to do is I try to write a story that I want to hear, that I want to see. So basically the audience I'm writing for is myself. I really don't think to myself oh, well, I suppose it'd be different if I was commissioned to do something, you know what I mean? To a certain extent, I'm kind of writing for Ruben too, because he's let me into this thing 3 years in a row. So kind of trying to understand what it is that he thinks is funny or interesting or whatever. That has something to do with it to some extent. But for the most part, it's just scratching your own itch, right? Have you ever imagined what their secrets might be? I know they're not actually ever revealed in the play, but have you ever thought about what they are? It really isn't important what the secrets are. What's important is that they have secrets and that everybody has secrets. And so this dude is able to kind of pull off this con with a minimal amount of information, just understanding something that is generally true about human nature, which is that everybody has secrets and everybody is making shit up. The last question is about your plays generally, and this one in particular. I've always found that there is a deep political allegory usually contained somewhere within. Is the same true here? So yeah, very astute of you to bring that up, because yes, everything that I write is to some degree allegorical. And in this case, the allegory is definitely one that has to do with class and class consciousness, In this world, there are people who have very little, there are people who have something, and there are people who have way too much. And in this particular play, you have somebody who has way too much, who employs somebody who has something, and both of them are absolutely terrified of this person who has nothing, right? All this person has is knowledge, and this person is satisfied to have just that. They really don't care to have very much more. He could have conned them out of so much. And in fact, that one part of the play where the woman of the house imagines all of the things that this guy could take from them, like that's very interesting, right? Because he really could, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't have to. It's the greed and the avarice of the other two, right? The greed of the woman of the house who has everything already, that is, you know, the most dangerous of all. She's the one who wants to kill the guy. And the woman who has some, the maid, I mean, her main issue comes only when she realizes that she could lose everything, right? And that's when she decides to, not necessarily for any like useful reason, but just literally out of vengeance, out of pique, to try and kill the poor guy. So yeah, I mean, it is an allegory. Definitely has like some Marxist underpinnings in there, because why wouldn't it? It's me. I'm the one who's writing, and everything has to do with capitalism in my world. Like I'll tell you that. Like if you bring up anything, I'll just say, oh shit, fucking capitalism again. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Estrada. I look forward to seeing you here maybe again next year after the Frida Kahlo Theater's next festival. Well, yeah, no, it was great to be on your show. I'm really happy to be here. Please go out and see the play. And yeah, I can't wait to be here again next year. And thank you all for joining me. I am Carlos Estrada, and we will be here again next week with another amazing writer who will certainly just bedazzle and amaze us. It's actually, yeah, Carlos Estrada again. Every fucking week, same motherfucking guy. Well, thank you, and good night.